Hello and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Thursday, 10 April. I'm your host Daniel, and today we'll be covering 4 Ukrainian soldiers have been executed on video by Russians. The US is probing FBI links to the Capitol Hill riots, and Russia frees Ksenia Karelina in a prisoner swap with the US. So firstly, in a village in southern Ukraine, a harrowing incident captured by drones from both Ukrainian and Russian forces starkly highlighted the brutal realities of this war. According to reports, 4 Ukrainian soldiers were filmed surrendering to Russian troops, after which the Ukrainian drone depicts a gruesome scene where the soldiers, now prisoners, were executed by their captors. This footage, reviewed and verified by the Center of Information Resilience, is pointed out as a clear case of illegal executions under international criminal law. The Russian drone footage, in contrast, ends abruptly before the alleged executions, with Russian military bloggers claiming that the Ukrainians surrendered peacefully. The incident occurred amidst ongoing conflicts and peace talks, raises significant concerns about war crimes and the treatment of prisoners of war. The discrepancies in the drone footage presents conflicting narratives, with the Ukrainian side asserting systematic abuse and execution of POWs by Russian forces, a claim supported by international human rights observers and Ukrainian prosecutors. These allegations are part of a broader context of deteriorating relations and diminishing international support, particularly from the Trump administration, which has scaled back assistance to Ukraine. As global dynamics shift and negotiations continue, the quest for accountability and justice remains fraught with geopolitical complexities and the challenging task of reconciling these conflicting narratives in pursuit of truth and reconciliation. So what? Incidents such as these are another reason why the Russians are highly unlikely to want an end to this conflict, as when the war does end, they will have to deal with the fallout of their actions during the conflict. For reference, I believe there's around 125 people executed by Russian soldiers on film, currently in possession by Ukraine. Additionally, the more this happens, the less likely Ukrainians will be to surrender, leading to some pretty horrific casualty numbers and a continually brutal war. And next, during a Senate Intelligence Committee hearing concerning his nomination to lead the US National Counterterrorism Center, Joseph Kent, the Chief of Staff to the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, acknowledged that intelligence agencies are currently investigating potential FBI involvement in the January 6, 2021 Capitol riots. These riots were carried out by supporters of the then President Donald Trump, aiming to obstruct the certification of Joe Biden's presidential victory. Kent, however, did not specify which of the 18 intelligence agencies was responsible for this investigation. His statement was in response to questions from Democratic Senator Mark Kelly during the hearing. The inquiry comes in the backdrop of a December report from the US Department of Justice watchdog, which firmly rejected the far-right conspiracy theory alleging covert FBI participation in the riots. The report confirmed the presence of 26 FBI informants in Washington, D.C. on the day of the riots, but clarified that none were authorized to enter the Capitol. This ongoing scrutiny by intelligence agencies highlights the complexities and ongoing debates surrounding the events of that day. So what? It'll be pretty interesting to see what this investigation shows and also how it is conducted, as from the outside it seems more that Trump supporters are trying to prove themselves correct rather than finding the truth. Though, as highlighted, it is almost certain American intelligence departments had informants within that crowd on January 6th, it is highly unlikely they were tasked with inciting riots or what ended up happening. Another indicator of this is that no one has come forward and claimed to have done that on behalf of the FBI, as it would be likely that someone would have by now, even if just for the money and the fame. And lastly, On Thursday, a significant prisoner exchange took place in Abu Dhabi involving the United States and Russia, resulting in the release of US-Russian dual national Ksenia Karelina and German-Russian national Arthur Petrov. Karelina, a former ballet dancer and Beverly Hills beautician, had been incarcerated in a Russian penal colony, serving a 12-year sentence for treason since her arrest in January 2024. She was convicted for donating approximately $50 to a Ukrainian charity, an act Russia deemed as support for its enemy amid the ongoing conflict. Her arrest occurred during a visit to her family shortly after acquiring US citizenship. In contrast, Arthur Petrov, who was detained under US direction in Cyprus in 2023, was accused of using a Cyprus-based company as a facade to acquire sensitive US microelectronics for Russian military use, disguising the purchases as fire safety system equipment. His legal proceedings were still pending at the time of the exchange. This prisoner swap, facilitated by the UAE, marks a notable development in the US-Russian relations, which have been strained since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. US officials, including the CIA director and the Secretary of State, have highlighted the exchange as a success for diplomatic engagement and President Trump's efforts to secure the release of other detained Americans. So what? The story underscores why Westerners, including dual citizens, should avoid traveling to hostile countries such as Russia, Iran, and possibly even China. There is a significant risk of arbitrary detention, which could lead to spending an extended period of time in harsh conditions. Additionally, such detentions can compromise global security by making individuals negotiable in exchange for valuable prisoners. As long as global tensions remain high, it seems likely that this will continue to occur. Thank you for listening to the Intel Beef, your daily update on global geopolitics, brought to you by HM Intelligence. You can support the show by sharing with your friends and leaving us a 5-star review. And if you're curious to learn more about intelligence, why not check out one of our courses in the description below. And just a heads up, I'm going on holiday for the next 2 weeks. The podcast should come out as normal, but there may be a slight delay. Thank you for listening. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you next time.